So today I'm exploring the borough of Södermalm. It went from a working class area that was kind of run down to being very trendy and very in demand. I'm going to show you some of the highlights and give you an impression how it looks like. Join me for the ride. So this is Hammarbyhamnen, a former industrial area that they refurbished and made quite spectacular with houses, cafés, restaurants, and also this place that you can swim in the summer. We're going to take a walk here and see a little bit more of it. So directly from the street level you can come down here to this little boardwalk with cafes and restaurant and have a swim, which is quite cool actually. What I wanted to do was to get over to the other side and show how that place looks like also. And it is similar but different. So you have to walk down these stairs to come to the other side of the harbor. And this particular side is actually a little bit older than the other one. And we do have some kiosks, some restaurants, some boats. But in general, it's kind of a little bit more residential and less flashy than the other side. You can see on this side that the houses are quite modern actually, so they were built maybe 10 years ago, while the houses on this side were built in the 90s I think, so they look kind of like 90s buildings. Just here you see the famous Thai boat. It's a floating boat and restaurant. The Thai theme. You can feel like you're actually in Thailand. It's a quite famous establishment here, very popular. Really like the decorations. If you walk here you can see the tracks, and it means that it has been industrial area with trucks coming and going here from different industrial trains that were running here from the harbor to the interior. This side you can see there are some remnants of the industry. This particular building here on the other side is very industrial. In general I kind of prefer this side actually. I think the houses here are very beautiful. Maybe a bit less flashy than the other side, but it's a very popular area to live. And I think buying houses here is also quite expensive these days. One thing I particularly like with these houses is the upper floor. It looks enormous. I don't know if you can see it from here, but if you live on the upper floor, you have a lot of space and pretty good view also. So this is actually one of the areas that I really like in Stockholm among the more modern areas. And the reason is that they did something good. They made it sustainable and they made it walkable, and the quality of life here is good. So I think it makes a big difference if you have bought a house here. So let's move on to the next destination. And as you can probably tell here, it's quite hilly. So we have to walk up. Let's walk these stairs. And as you probably can tell also, it's quite warm today. So there'll be a lot of walking up and down. Pretty nice little park with animals. Pretty good views from this little mountain down from where we came from the harbor. Over here you can see that they're building something, and what they're building here actually is the metro. They're expanding the Stockholm metro. So this whole area is going to be rail tracks, I think, even if it's going to be underneath the surface. They still have to do some work over here. This enormous building over here used to be a house for the elderly care at one point. Then it was turned into a place for immigrants that were new in Sweden. But right now it appears that it might actually be empty, or almost empty at least. I wouldn't like to live here at this point. On this side you find the old Orion Theatre, a classic theatre in this neighborhood. And on this side you can see some of the classical buildings that are very typical for Södermalm. And they went from working class houses, they were often very small, to being quite popular in demand for the middle class. So living here today is actually quite popular, especially among families and young professionals. On this particular street they have kept some of the older tree houses that were mostly demolished in Stockholm. So it looks like you're almost back in time here. But only on this particular street. Very few houses in Stockholm today are actually made of tree, at least in the inner city. They were seen as too unmodern and mostly demolished in the 50s and 60s. Pretty beautiful houses actually in its simplicity, I must say. Preserving the old is sometimes useful. Here's a big park called Vitabergsparken, one of the largest parks in Södermalm. I'm going to walk around it, see some more of it. And I'm also going to show you a very beautiful church. You probably found out this church, Sofia Church, is also located on a mountain. So once again you have to walk around, getting up several stairs to get to the top. But the view is so great. And the church also. So join me. And one interesting detail about this church is actually you can see it from almost anywhere at Södermalm. Let's get up there and I'll show you. Here it is, Sofia Church. It's quite unique actually. Not only it's located so high, so you get very good views of Stockholm, but also how it is constructed makes a big difference. see if we can briefly get in, take a look inside. Very beautiful mosaic. In order to not make too much noise, I had to make it quite brief, but you get an understanding of what it looks like from the inside. And I think it's a beautiful church nonetheless. What made Södermalm quite livable and quite unique as an area is that it has these small shops still around. It's not dominated by chains, it's dominated by smaller shops. Quite peculiar things to sell. It's also full of restaurants and smaller cafés. So it gives a kind of personal vibe to live in this area of Stockholm. Cool little retro design shop here. It's kind of stuff you only find in Söder, I think. Antikvariat, which means older things. Antiquary. Everything from books to porcelain to anything you can think of. On the other side of the street here, you see some restaurants. Mostly the restaurants here tend to be a little bit cheaper, more chic than expensive. That's what attracts a quite different crowd of people to come here. Pretty cozy little house here in the middle of the city here. One of few remaining tree houses that were kept intact. I think it's a cool place to discover when there's this great diversity of houses. So I think by now we have a pretty decent picture of how this place, Södermalm, looks like, especially the older parts. But I wanted to show you some of the more modern parts also of the suburb. So come with me. And this building over here is Skrapan. It was actually a former tax office and one of the taller buildings in central Stockholm here. But it's also famous for having an indoor commercial center or a mall. Plus, on top of it, the first Sky Bar in Stockholm. That's what I want to check out. There's a small cafe downstairs, some shops. We also have some restaurants here. Famous Pong Asian buffet. and some Italian restaurant. Okay, here it is. So dark in this area, super dark. Floor 25. It's actually quite high. Sky bar. Okay, let's see. Oh, pretty nice views. You can see most of the streets and these people from here. Tjena, tjena. Ska jag filma lite, tycker jag. Bra utsikt. Hej, hej. So here's the famous restaurant and cafe, Himlen. You can see most of the Södermalm borough from here. And these are some of the areas that we will discover once we get down on the ground again. Pretty nice and cozy interior, I must say. But it's not open. It's one of those more classical sky bars. Is it worth coming up here? Let me know. But it's a quite cool place actually. So this is Medborgarplatsen, and I don't think anybody who lives here has missed this area. It's this large square and meeting point for the people of this borough. But the cool thing here is that it didn't always look like this. It's in more recent years that I kind of developed, made it more livable. Here you have Medborgarhuset, which has a swimming hall and a library, I think, and culture school. Quite cool place. But what you have here is also a lot of restaurants, a cinema, and a mall. So it's a very lively area, very popular, especially in the summer, when people can sit outside and enjoy the Swedish summer. And many restaurants that actually don't operate here, they have the possibility to put up their establishment on this street in the summer, so people can come here and have a drink instead of sitting somewhere inside, which is quite unique for Medborgarplatsen. On mall, it's under redevelopment and it will be done by the end of this year. And I think it will be looking quite nice actually. Once upon a time you can come here, you could go to the food hall. There was also a cinema here, plenty of shops. But now it's looking like this. Well, if you had came here in the 80s or early 90s, it would look very different actually. The whole place was big parking space. And there was also a freeway going directly through here that was actually put under the ground to make room for all these houses and shops and bars. So it's one time when you can actually see that redevelopment has changed an area for the better. And here you have this little park also that was built, I think in the 90s, with this house that looks like a horseshoe. For every year I come here, it looks like there are more things to do, which is quite cool. I even have bars on this street and some street food. Didn't look like this last time I came here. Some Thai food, I think. Looks nice. What do we get here? Spring rolls. Long queue. Tack så jättemycket. Tack så du ha. Hejdå. I really couldn't resist ordering something here. So apparently there's this Thai festival throughout the summer with different shops and vendors. So let's try some matcha tea with mango. Let's give it a try. It's really nice. I did not expect it actually. It's a good combination between the matcha, the milk and the mango. I thought it would be feeling more healthy, but it's actually a perfect little drink on a hot day like this. If Södermalm is posh and this neighborhood is casual, then kind of trendy in a way. We almost come to the next area. The next area is Slussen. A very particular area that has been redeveloped in recent years. I'm going to show you how it looks like now, and we can see how the redeveloped turned out. So this is Slussen, or in English means the lock. It was built on poles, I think, on water. So for many years the politicians saw that it was actually sinking and had to do something about it, but they couldn't really decide how to redevelop this area. So for many years they were arguing and nothing was happening, and this area was actually falling apart. It was becoming quite sketchy. But then eventually they started working here, and maybe 10-15 years later this is the result. So what I want to do now is to walk around here and just see how this place looks like and how the redevelopment turned out to be. Was it worth it? Was it a waste of taxpayer money? We'll find out. The thing I do like with this area is that there are so many cafés and places that you can sit down here. And I'm happy to see that they have actually put some trees here also. I think the greenery was something that was missing here. Without greenery, even some nice cafe can look quite ugly. But what I wanted to do now is to walk down here and see how it looks like on the surface level. We even have some escalators here. As you can probably see, not everything is completed here. But there are some benches here. They even put some flowers on this side. So it's kind of connect Södermalm borough to Gamla stan, which is on the other side here, the old city, which actually never did before. You could never pass here before, which is a quite good upgrade. Here's another bar. Well, now it's summer, so of course it's more lively. I just kind of wonder who would sit here in the winter. Would anybody sit here? I don't know. I don't think so. It's not really the nicest place in a winter night. So I really hope that Slussen will not fall apart like it did in the past, become sketchy. So they really have to cope up with the things so it looks nice and clean. I kind of like the upper level more for some reason. I feel like it's more livable than in the level down. What do you think about the new Slussen area? Is it good or not? Is it better than it used to be? Could it have been better even? Let me know in the comments. So this is how it used to look like. Maybe you don't see it much from here, but it doesn't look that nice, does it? The old Slussen area. So I couldn't really resist to visit another rooftop bar. This one is called Freja and it's also located in Slussen. Let's have a look here. So this is the rooftop bar of Freja. Looks quite popular. Let's see if we can get some kind of impression at least. And some view. Hej.
Hej. Kan inte du ta en bild? Alltså inte med din.
Okej, det ska jag kunna göra. Absolut. You get a pretty good view from here to the old city. And if you want to sit inside, you can do it here. Really classy place with a lot of wine selection. Very few people are doing it today, of course. You can order some burgers if you wish. So this is Freja rooftop bar. And what came me quite late, so it's a lot of people here. But I like the inbuilt and the environment. It's one of the nicer rooftop bars I've been to, I think. What do you think of Freja? Have you been here or are you planning to? Let me know in the comments. So that was the bustling suburb of Södermalm on a Friday night. It has everything, I think, and it is one of the most fascinating places in Stockholm. What do you think? Do you live here? Or are you planning to come and visit? Is this your favorite suburb? If you like content like this, make sure to drop a like, comment and subscribe for more things like this. And until then, take care.